All right, we are live. Here we are, Tuesday, the day after Valentine's Day. How did you do? Did you indulge in your chocolate? I'm wondering if everyone, I know everyone read the newsletter that went out last night. And I'm so excited that everybody opened it. And you now know that nature's natural love drug is chocolate. And if you go back and reread all of the amazing beneficial ingredients that are in chocolate, you'll then read why chocolate is so good for you to have, and it is a natural aphrodisiac. So, little tidbit on that. Go open the newsletter that I sent out last night. Anyways, Renee and I are here to talk to you about stress, baby. So we're going to talk about, like good stress, bad stress, what is stress, what happens inside your body when you're stressed out, how to deal with it, and what you can do about it. So I'm going to let Renee start. What? I know. I'm going to share and let her go first. So Renee, welcome.
Okay. Yeah, it's because I'm knee deep in this stuff because I have a workshop I'm doing tomorrow night on stress. So I've been putting all the slides together so it's fresh in my brain. So I figured I'll pull out some tidbits from that workshop and go on. So I figured, basically everybody knows what stress is. It's a feeling we all experience when we're challenged or overwhelmed, but it is more than just an emotion. Like stress is actually hardwired, a physical hardwired response that travels through our entire bodies. So, funny thing is, stress can be helpful, but if it's activated for too long, or, we can't turn off our stress response, it damages our organs and cells in our bodies. So it's really, really important to be able to turn off those stress reactors in our bodies and reduce our stress. Because, it has the power to make us physically sick. And I was just talking to Katrina before we went on. I said, there is a good stress and there is bad stress. So, there's a difference between them, because if you experience good stress, then you feel inspired, you feel motivated, you feel energized and focused and alert, and it allows you to explore like the edges of your comfort zone and push out your comfort zone. And it allows you to grow and learn and get stronger. But then on the opposite side, it's bad. There is bad stress that can make you weak or worried or demoralized. It can make you distracted and scattered, and you don't feel like challenging yourself when you're stressed, and you don't get enough rest and recovery, and your cortisol levels increase, your adrenaline goes up, and you can lose muscle and your fat, gain fat, and it affects your blood sugar, your immunity, metabolism, your sleep, even your sex hormones are affected. So it's really, really bad when you have the bad stress, right? So the key is finding that sweet spot. So how do you find that sweet spot? It's really interesting. But, if you feel like you're lethargic and bored and unfocused and directionless, that means your stress level's too low. But if you're anxious and obsessed and depressed and panicked and stuck or numb, your stress level's too high. So, you want to get to that point where you are, your sweet spot is where you don't want to sweat, but it's where you're engaged.
But stress can make you sweat.
Yes, it can, because of your heart rate, right? But you don't want that. Your sweet spot is where you're interested and you're actively moving towards goals and you're excited about things. That's where you want to be. So, I'm sure we all are, but I'm curious if you guys are watching this on replay or watching live, how many of you are experiencing stress right now on a daily basis? And do you know what your top stressors are? Let us know in the chat, because there's many, many different forms of stress. Like there's the obvious, there's like the mental stress and the emotional stress, but there's also the stress of, like, for example, being in a cold room, or waking up at an unusual time, or just making poor food choices. Those are all stressors on our bodies as well. So the interesting thing is, when we're stressed, we have about a half a dozen different ways our bodies will tell us that we're stressed, and everybody's different, but we usually have the same responses. So do you know how you feel and react when you're stressed? I'm curious, so let us know. Let us know in the chat. Are you crabby? Do you get overwhelmed? Do you get headaches? Do you get tired? There's lots of different ways. And
I think sometimes it changes too, depending on what is causing the stress. I know, like for me too, right? Like the bad stress, sometimes I just go numb. I just like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. And I just give up. And it's not that I'm, depressed. I'm just hitting that level of I give up. I'm done. And I kind of sit in that. And sometimes it lasts days and it's very annoying. It's kind of hard to come out of.
Well, and you being the burnout, focusing on burnout.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You get to that point where you're so stressed that you're burned out. Like you came on my group last year and gave a workshop on burnout. And I remember you saying, like, because I asked, what's the difference between stress and burnout? And burnout is basically chronic stress. And it's easily to get chronic stress because we just are used to it. Like the stress is good back, from back in the day. I always say this analogy. I do it in my sleep workshop as well. It's like back in the day when we were being chased by woolly mammoths or saber-toothed tigers or whatever, we needed that stress reactions in our body. We needed that quick cortisol spike and to be able to, run
away from danger.
Exactly. But the problem is our bodies today don't know the difference between a work deadline or sitting in traffic, or waking up at an unusual time or anything. They don't know the difference between that and a woolly mammoth. The stress reaction is the same, but you're right. There are different ways. And that's the interesting thing is that everybody can be different. And sometimes we don't even know we're stressed, and we are. And it comes out in different ways. For me as a sleep coach, I notice it because a lot of people, stress is one of the biggest reasons why people can't sleep. So, but they may not know it. They're like, well, I'm doing everything I can. I go to bed at the same time. I wake up at the same time. I'm trying to have good sleep hygiene. But if you have constant stress, your cortisol levels are going to spike, and it's not letting your natural melatonin levels kick in. So it's quite interesting. And that's one of the reasons why I started, focusing on stress as well, because so many people have stress. And then it's so bad, right? There are so many different, I talk about stress bod. It's one of the things I learned in one of my courses. And it's, there are physical things that happen in your body when you're stressed. And it all has to do with your nerves, right? Like your muscles get tightened, your nerves are more sensitive, and it can lead to soreness throughout your body. So if you have unexplained soreness, it could be stress, right? And those nerves can also affect your gut and cause issues with digestion. You can experience heartburn, stomach ache, diarrhea. You may find it even more difficult to exercise or recover from exercise because your body's stressed. Foggy brain, inability to concentrate, stuff like that. Getting sick. If you get sick a lot, it could be due to inflammation because of your drop in your white blood cell count, because stress can do that. The biggest thing for a lot of us is weight gain. When you're stressed, you can gain weight, you can gain fat, lose muscle. And it's because you trying to fight cravings due to a drop, in your hormones, like a rise in ghrelin. I was thinking leptin, but it's ghrelin. Leptin is satiety hormone. Ghrelin is our hunger hormone. So those get out of whack when we're stressed, right? And so then you start grabbing for those crappy foods, those highly processed foods, the comfort foods, and it shows, right? So it gets your lower abdomen, lower stomach. That's where it shows, you get the little pouch. Stress belly. Yes, exactly. So, it's not a good thing. And there's a lot of things too that there may be things that you don't even know that are stressing you out. We call them hidden stressors, right? If
you're just a ball of stress and you're like, okay, something's not right, and I'm just kind of going along and living life, and maybe I'm not sleeping well, or I'm kind of numbed out. I mean, I know about the signs of burnout when we hit that chronic stress, or, we hit emotional exhaustion, which is like another form of stress. And I know, like, statistically, so people who are super stressed out, is hiring caregivers. So whether you are like a caregiver as like a nurse's aide, a nurse, a doctor, or maybe you're taking care of like someone who is immunocompromised or elderly parents, or you're just in that position of being a caregiver, or maybe you're just a parent and you've got a lot of kids. I say we because obviously I'm in that category. Get burnt out, get stressed out pretty easily. So, and sometimes, yeah, you're right. Like it can be used positively. And I personally, like, I find when I have so much on the go, I'm like, feel amazing because I'm getting so much accomplished. But then if there's a day that I don't have a lot on the books, I'm not that motivated to do anything. That's when I kind of like, oh, I should be doing something, but I don't want to. So stress does kind of push you to getting, those students that are the last minute, like I have to write my book report or I have to write that article, and you kind of leave it and leave it and leave it. And then it's like, oh, okay, now you're at crunch time. So I know that's like the positive side. But all right, so what do we do to get rid of stress? How do we get the stress out of our body?
There's lots of things we can do. And I'm sure you have lots of things too. There's obviously the obvious items, right? Like meditation, deep breathing, basically anything that will lower your heart rate, calm your mind, stuff like that. But one of the biggest things I always promote is find out whatever is stressing you out, can you actually control it? Because basically, the difference between someone who can handle stress and someone who can't handle stress is not the stress itself. It's what's happening in their head, right? It's basically, we have to work on our inner self in order to be able to manage the external world, the external environment that's coming at us. Because if we are not able to do that, then that's where the problem begins. We get stressed because of that. And a lot of times we can't control the external environment. So that's one of the biggest things is really, one of the good things you can do is if you encounter a stressful situation and you get through it, journal about it. Like talk about what you did. What was the stressor? What caused the stress? What did you do? What was your response? What could you do better next time? What did you learn from it? And could you control it? Because that's the biggest thing. It's like if you can't control, then there's no point in worrying about it. Like you can only worry about what's within your control to change. And a lot of times you can't. So that's a big thing. And a lot of times too, we just make stories in our head. Like I'm a big culprit like that. I'm horrible with that. Like if I start spinning stories in my head, did you ever do that where it's like you're so stressed or you're angry or whatever causes some kind of reaction, then you're like, you just start spinning a story in your head that's not even happening in the real world. It's like, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I made this whole story that doesn't even exist.
And then worry comes in.
Yeah. So, so there's things like that too. So there's the physical things like keeping your, doing activities that you can to, keep your heart rate down, yoga, meditation, breathing, daily exercise is a huge thing, right? It doesn't have to be, I like to say movement. I shouldn't say exercise. Like you just need to get out and move and do it for 20 minutes. That's a good thing too. Get out in nature. Nature, we're meant to be out in nature. I mean, if you think back to your last walk in a forest, what were your feelings, right? You were happy. You were like, it's just natural for us to be happy in that setting. So get out there and go for a quick walk. I don't know. What are some other things, Katrina? I have a whole list, but.
Well, okay. Yeah. So like talking about stress, I do want to talk about controlled and uncontrolled. I'm going to come back to that, but just kind of tapping into what you're saying as well. And I'm asking these questions because, I already know the answer, but I'm just getting you to answer them and then I'll answer them and then everyone can take, what they want from listening to this. But so stress causes emotional exhaustion. And when you are, stuck, maybe it's an everyday stressor, like something that you can't escape. Maybe if you're working with someone who you really don't like, or your boss is a bitch, or, whatever, right? And you're like, oh God, again. So dealing with those everyday stresses, and you know that you're stressed, and what do you do to get it out of your body? Maybe you are like having the shits every day, or you got heartburn, or you got that mom pooch and you're like, oh my God, like I've just gained, 50 pounds like overnight, and your clothes are tight and you're kind of freaking out, and you have like the night sweats, not night sweets, night sweats, and all of this stuff is happening, and it's because you're stressed out. So stress from emotional exhaustion, from chronic stress, gives you big emotions. And what happens with these big emotions is that we can get, stress, again, good and bad, but we have to go through an emotional tunnel, because every stress puts us through a tunnel. And it's a tunnel full of emotions, whether this is positive or negative emotions. And we need to be able to move through this tunnel. And if we don't have guides to move us through this tunnel, or if we don't know how to complete the stress cycle of getting the stress out of our body, then we're stuck in that tunnel. We're stuck in that, tunnel of reoccurring night sweats and binge eating and all the stomach issues and the health issues and our getting sick all the time, because you're stuck in that tunnel. So the things to move us through the tunnel, completing the stress cycle, especially if you're faced with stress every day, yes, absolutely, movement. But it doesn't, like, okay, I'm not saying you have to go for a 20-minute run. Even just, doing one of those guided meditations where you are tensing your muscles and then releasing and then squeezing and releasing, what that does in your brain, you might be like, oh my God, I don't want to do this, and I'm too tired. And I'm, Katrina, like, shut up, I don't want to do it. But if you just listen to me and do it anyways, you're talking to your body. And I think that's something that's so important, is that we have to stop listening to our mind. I know, yes, mind and body connection, blah, blah, blah. I get that. Meditation, deep breathing. But there's at some point you have to communicate to your body, even if your brain or your ego is saying, I don't want to. And so how do we communicate with our body? Walking, being in nature, squeezing and releasing, doing the tremors. You guys know I've talked about tremors before. So also, like, to move these big emotions, music, like, think about grief. Let's think about, okay, you break up with a boyfriend, or you break up with someone that you really care about, right? Like, if you're a teenager, like those big emotions when you have your first crush and they break your heart. How do you get through that? You listen to a playlist. That playlist moves you through the tunnel of grief. That playlist moves you through the tunnel of sadness and gets you to the other side. And same when you first fall in love. And I use, like, a breakup and falling in love, because those are like our most intense emotions that we experience as a teenager. And then you take it, and I mean, it gets changes, as you get older. Not to say that you can't, like, end a relationship and start a new one, but when you start the new one, like, every song you hear on the radio is about this person. You make this awesome playlist, you can't stop thinking about them, and you smell them, and it's like, you just can't, you just want to be around them, and your magnetic energy is calling them, and you listen to these awesome songs that get you through that tunnel of, crush, the little candy crush that you got going on, that lust tunnel, and then maybe it moves to love, or maybe it moves to, oh my God, what the hell was I thinking about? But music is another one. And creativity, it's allowing yourself to be creative. If you're sad or frustrated, maybe you want to garden, maybe you want to bake, maybe you want to paint, so I know my daughter, my 18-year-old daughter, when she has big emotions and she's stuck in the tunnel, she's like, Mom, I got to go to the dollar store. Okay, sweetie, let's go to the dollar store. And she buys My Little Pony coloring books. And this is so therapeutic for her. And actually, last Sunday, I sat upstairs and I was like, let's light candles. We'll put on Encanto and let's color. And so I sat there coloring to My Little Pony coloring books, and she's got like Halloween, Christmas, giant ones, small ones, big ones. I was like, oh my God. But, just being creative and coloring. And it was just a way I was like, wow, this is kind of therapeutic. And I haven't colored in ages. I'm not a colorer. So whatever works, though, whatever kind of creative outlet works for you. But creativity is another one to move through the stuck emotions, to get through that tunnel that you're stuck in.
Yeah. I laughed because as you were talking about big emotions, I have a story.
Yes.
It was a point in my life. It was a long, long time ago. And I think my sister is in your group. So if she listens to this, she's going to know exactly what I'm talking about, because she was there when it happened. But, you hold everything in when you're stressed too, especially if it's chronic and you just have so much going on. And I just remember, and there's always something that's at breaking point, whether it's big or small. It's probably the smallest little thing that's going to just set you off. Well,
Yep.
it happened to me when I walked into my kitchen and I went to grab Tupperware out of my cupboard. And I pulled out, everybody's got, well, I have a Tupperware cupboard, or, there's plastic containers everywhere. So of course they're never perfect when you get in there. So you try to pull one out. I tried to pull one out, and literally the entire cupboard fell out. Like every piece of plastic came out. And then the mayhem started, because it just flipped the switch. And then I started doing, my sister calls it the Tupperware stomp. Like I literally was trying to break every piece. I was throwing stuff. I was stomping on it. I was so mad. And it's like, all it happened is that I tried to pull one out, everything came out, and that was the breaking point. And I will never live that down, because it was just hysterical for people looking, but I was not.
You had an adult temper tantrum.
I did. It was so bad. It was so bad.
I've had those.
Yeah, but it's like, it happens, but you get it out. Well, I guess I needed to get it out. And luckily it was just with plastic Tupperware.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So yeah, anyway, that's why I kind of, laughed when you were talking about
that. But that's true. Big emotions can also lead to anger, and it can be the littlest thing that just sets you off. And my kids are pretty good about it now. If I get really cranky, and they like, my little one, my 14-year-old will just nonstop talk and nonstop ask me questions. And she does it at like 9:00 at night. And I think I snapped at her one day. I like really snapped at her. And then she kind of turned around and she looked at me and she was like, "Mom, I know that you're not really mad at me. You're just really tired." The kids, eh? "You're just really tired and you need sleep." And I was like, "You know what? You're so mature. Thank you for understanding." I said, "You're absolutely right. Can we talk about this tomorrow? Can you ask me everything?" And so sometimes now when they ask me stuff, I'm like, "You know what? I'm not going to make a decision. How about, I think about this and answer you tomorrow," instead of being super cranky and being like, "No, you're grounded for the rest of your life."
Exactly.
Because she irritates me. But okay. So yeah. So moving through the big emotions, that is, there's the creativity, crying, being angry, stomping on plastic, whatever is going to work to get you through that big emotion, but it moved you through that emotion. Did it not?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then you laugh about it after. And then, if you're my family, you don't never live it down. So
Oh, we went on a hike 2 years ago, me and my daughters. I do a lot of traveling and stuff with my daughters. And we went on this hike and it was uphill, like 30 minutes straight up. We were sweaty, but we did it, and we did 30 minutes straight up. And then you come down the other side and it was crazy. It was like a black diamond hike. And we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So then we got down to the beach, had a little break. And then we're like, "Okay, we're going to go back." And my oldest was like, "No, I am not doing that again. We're walking on the road." So from where we had parked the truck to where we were, it seemed, okay, we'll just go down, just go to the end of the road, turn right, walk a little bit, and we should be at the car. 2 hours.
Oh my God.
2 hours of highway walking to get back to the truck because she refused to go back over the hill. So it's that is a stressful situation. That, like everything, we totally laugh about it now. And now we refuse to let her make any kind of decisions on where we go or her sense of direction, like we're like, "Nope." Because we went to the beach and Aurora's like, "Oh, we can just, go this way and get back to the truck." And we're like, "No, we're going to go back the way we came. We do not trust you." So those, if you can laugh about them now, but those things, and they set, your cortisol levels off, they set everything off. And so, but I want to kind of roll into controlled and uncontrolled stress. Because wow, we are talking a lot today. But so controlled stress, and like you were saying, you have to be able to self-talk you through some shit. Okay. You gotta, like, your own inner dialogue has to be able to give you some positive reinforcement and talk you through when shit's happening. So if you are familiar with something called like planned problem solving, this is called dealing with controlled stress. So if you have a mother, or if you are a mother, anything like my mother, who never leaves the house without, we call it the magic bag, which is her purse. Inside this magic bag is literally everything but the kitchen sink. So this is called planned problem solving. Tampons, pads, lip glosses, Band-Aids, shopping bags, Swiss Army knife, scissors, tweezers, like anything you need, granola bars, chocolate, gum, like everything is in this purse.
Oh my God.
So that is your controlled, planned problem solving, right? And also, of course, if you're kind of stuck, if you want to go grocery shopping and then you get, stuck in traffic, that you have to like, this is okay. There's a reason this is happening, that kind of that positive reinforcement, right? So if you want to go from point A to point B, and usually on a good day, you can get there in like 15 minutes, all the lights are green, you pull in, there's like a parking spot. When you ever go to Costco, you pull right up to the pump. It's like, oh, it's a blue moon. It's a blue moon today. Because usually I know I'm sitting there for a good freaking 15, 20 minutes trying to get into the Costco pump, right?
Yep.
So I don't want to take grocery shopping. I do have like uncontrolled stress, right? So when you're going grocery shopping on a Saturday, which is like insanely busy. So I need to know there's going to be traffic. There's going to be lineups. There's going to be slow people in the grocery store. And I know that I need to bring an extra bottle of patience, like when I'm out on a Saturday getting groceries. And sometimes it's inevitable and I have to go and do this grocery shopping. So you can choose to have a temper tantrum, and throw, I don't know, all of the bananas on the floor in the grocery store because people are pissing you off. Or you can do some deep breathing, slow down, and understand that this is going to be a timely thing. But if you're dealing with this, then I want you to ask yourself, so this works with grocery shopping, and it also works with if you're dealing with stress at work. Okay. So uncontrolled stress, like dealing with a jerk at work. Okay. So if you have someone that you really don't like and you kind of dread going into work because you have to deal with this person. So I need to ask you these questions. All right. Number one, what is the goal? What is the goal of today? Are you going to hide? Are you going to confront this person? Or are you just going to go and, do your best to have the best day ever? And maybe this person will leave you alone or you won't have to interact with this person. So what is your goal for the day? If I turn it back to grocery shopping, my goal is getting groceries. I'm just doing two scenarios. Okay. Number two, you know that this is going to get hard. So what are you going to do when you have to face the hard? I know there's going to be traffic. I know there's going to be lineups. I know that people are going to be slow walking in the grocery aisle. So how am I going to handle that hard? Am I going to like start screaming like, oh my God, move out of my way, you stupid moron, or am I going to be like, okay, he's 80. I'll just let him saunter on and, go past him. Or are you going to be able to deal with the hard when you're at work, right? And then number three, is the outcome worth it? So is it worth it to get my groceries today? Do I absolutely need it? If I'm out of toilet paper, then yeah, I'm probably really need to go and get groceries today. But then, is the outcome worth it? So do you want to go and deal with this person? Do you want to confront them? Is there any way that you can avoid them? Or can you speak to a supervisor? Or, how can you handle this crappy person at work? And then last but not least, you really have to honestly look at the pros and cons. So what are the pros of staying at the job? What are the cons of leaving the job? And what are the pros of, pros and cons of staying, pros and cons of leaving, pros and cons of going grocery shopping on a Saturday, or can I wait until Monday when it's not so busy? Mm-hmm. So that's dealing with uncontrolled stress, but also, using that positive reinforcement and that positive talk when you're unexpectedly get hit with this, stress. If you're expecting maybe I waited until Sunday or Monday, and then for some reason, there's traffic jam and it's really busy because there's a storm coming. And so everyone goes to Costco and it's super busy and you weren't expecting that. So then you really have to do that positive reinforcement. But the words that we say to ourselves is what gets us through, is the way that we talk to ourselves. And then, of course, completing that stress cycle, handling those big emotions. Because if you stay hyped up and pissed off and aggravated from your busy grocery shopping experience or from your jerk at work, that's when it leads to chronic illness. And that's when you need to connect to your body and allow your body to relax through meditation, through yoga, through deep breathing, or, through the tightening and releasing of the muscles, through journaling, through tremoring, allowing your body to just take over. And then, I don't know, watch something funny to change your state that's happening on upstairs in your mind. When I say upstairs.
Yeah. Or even just talking to someone. Sometimes just the act of talking to someone.
Oh, does that ever? Yeah, it helps so much. Just releasing that verbally and then having someone just compassionately listen to you and be like, wow, that's quite an experience here grocery shopping on a Saturday.
Yep. And laughing. Laughing's another one. Have you ever done laughter yoga?
Yeah, I have. I felt really stupid doing it though. I didn't, man. I'd rather just watch a comedy show on YouTube, quite honestly. Like a comedian or something. But yeah, I did try the laughing yoga. There's like face yoga. There's yawning yoga. There's a lot of different, I don't know. There's booty yoga. I like booty yoga. Awesome. I've looked into it. Yeah. But so basically, yes, we have stress and stressors. It affects our bodies differently. Different types of stress affects us differently. I kind of feel like you get into this whole, like level of stress, this workshop of stress, conversation of stress, and then you realize that there's so much more to it. And there is not just one answer to say, if you're stressed out, do this. If you're not stressed out and you're feeling like you might get stressed out, do this. If you're hitting burnout, do this. There is no one answer. And unfortunately, I think that's what people are looking for sometimes, well, how do I deal with this? You got to weigh out your pros and your cons. Is it worth it? It's like climbing Mount Everest. You know that it's going to get hard. You've been training, you might do the first 10K, no problem. And then it starts snowing. And then you've got to deal with the terrain and the weather and everything, all of, the climate coming at you. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to get to the top? Do you really need to get there? And that's where, if the answer is yes, then you're digging deep and you're doing it anyways. And then you have to have some major positive self-talk happening. So whatever you're dealing with, whether it's work, a jerk at work, or going grocery shopping, that positive self-talk, is this really worth it? What are the pros and cons if I stay? And what are the pros and cons if I go?
Yeah. Awesome.
That's all I have to say about that. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I think I'm good. That's awesome.
All right. So as before, if you are feeling that, okay, I really need some help with this stress, we can do some stress management deep dive with you, some serious laser coaching to find you some specific answers to the stress that you're dealing with. And of course, you know the drill. We have our laser coaching that we are offering. So just reach out to either myself or Renee. Let us know that you're interested. You get 2 for 1. It's an hour and a half, $125. Laser coaching deep dive into, whatever area you need help with. You will walk away with a blueprint. You will walk away with some action steps to take. And you will walk away with, being in that private Zoom room with the two of us. Totally coaching you and pulling out that better version of you, whatever it is you need. And next week, we will be talking about heart health, because we cannot leave February without talking about heart health. And that's all I have to say about that. So enjoy your Tuesday.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.